The unexpected signal. The Galactic Council was deep in discussion. Representatives from dozens of alien races gathered around the vast table, their faces serious, their voices low. They spoke of rising threats, of powerful enemies appearing from the shadows of space. It was a time of tension. For years, the galaxy had known peace, but peace was fragile. The Council had watched over the galaxy's many races, ensuring that order was kept. But that peace was now being tested. Across the galaxy, strange things were happening. Rumors of new ships, weapons, and technology spread like wildfire. The Council had learned of mysterious disturbances in distant sectors, but nothing concrete. No one knew where the threats were coming from. No one knew who might be behind them. It was this uncertainty that kept the Council in constant alert. Suddenly, in the middle of a heated debate, an unexpected event occurred. A faint, strange signal cut through the normal noise of the galaxy's communication channels. At first, it was barely noticeable, a whisper among the many voices in the universe. But something about it felt different. This was no ordinary signal. It carried a strange energy, an encrypted pattern that couldn't be traced, couldn't be decoded by normal methods. The Council's leaders looked at each other, puzzled. A signal that couldn't be traced. Something was wrong. The Council had received many signals over the years from different parts of the galaxy, but nothing like this. The signal was strong and persistent, but its origin remained a mystery. It came from a direction they had all but forgotten. A small, insignificant planet known as Earth. "Earth," said the leader of the Council, his voice full of disbelief. What could possibly be coming from Earth? The other representatives exchanged looks of confusion. Earth was a backwater planet, primitive by most standards. It had no advanced technology, no interstellar presence, and certainly no reason to send out a signal to the galactic community. It was as if someone had sent a message from the most unlikely of places, a place so insignificant that no one had thought about it in centuries. Despite their initial doubts, the Council decided to investigate. A small team of experts was tasked with analyzing the signal. They used all their technology, every resource they had at their disposal, but the signal remained a mystery. There were no signs of a fleet, no signs of weapons, no signs of anything that would explain the message. But what was more unsettling was the fact that it wasn't just a random signal. It was a call to action, a call for attention. After hours of analysis, the signal finally became clear. It was coming from Earth, and it was not a simple message. It was a hidden code, a sophisticated encryption that only a few races in the galaxy could create. It was the kind of encryption that only a highly advanced civilization could master. The message was clear. Earth had something to hide. At first, the Council couldn't believe it. How could Earth, a planet known for its small population and lack of technology, send out such an advanced message? It made no sense. The message spoke of a fleet, of ships hidden away for years, ships that were more advanced than anything the Council had ever seen. It was a warning, a silent plea for help. Or was it a challenge? The Council members were torn. Some wanted to ignore the signal, to dismiss it as a mistake, a glitch in the system, but others were more curious. The idea that Earth, of all places, had developed a hidden fleet was too intriguing to ignore. What if it wasn't a mistake? What if Earth had been quietly building something powerful? The Council couldn't ignore the possibility that something significant was happening on that small blue planet. They couldn't afford to take any chances. The Council's most trusted reconnaissance team was immediately dispatched to investigate. The team would travel to Earth, track down the source of the signal, and gather as much information as possible. It was a risk, but it was a calculated one. Earth had been left alone for so long, but now things were changing. The galaxy's greatest power players needed to understand exactly what Earth was hiding and whether the threat was real. As the fleet prepared to leave, the members of the Galactic Council couldn't shake the feeling that something big was about to happen. This wasn't just a signal. It wasn't just a cry for help. It was something more. The entire galaxy could be on the edge of a new dangerous era, and Earth might be at the center of it all. As the reconnaissance ship disappeared into the vastness of space, the Council's chambers were filled with whispers. Earth was about to become the focal point of the galaxy's attention, and whatever the humans were hiding, the Council knew one thing for sure: things would never be the same again. A hidden fleet revealed. The reconnaissance ship, a sleek vessel designed for stealth, finally reached Earth's orbit. The crew, consisting of some of the most skilled officers in the Galactic Council, was on edge. Their mission was clear: uncover the truth behind the mysterious signal and determine if Earth posed a threat. The journey had taken hours, but to the crew, it felt like days. The tension aboard the ship was thick. No one could shake the nagging feeling that something was wrong. As the ship entered Earth's atmosphere, they noticed something unusual. The planet, seemingly normal from space, held secrets that were not immediately visible. There were no signs of military activity, no major space stations, no advanced technologies floating around. Everything appeared quiet, peaceful even. But then, they picked up a strange reading on their sensors, one that didn't make sense. It was faint at first, but soon it became undeniable. Hidden in the shadows of Earth's atmosphere, cloaked by advanced technology, was a fleet unlike anything the Council had ever seen. The ships were enormous, each one larger than anything the Galactic Council had ever dared to imagine. They were camouflage, making it nearly impossible to detect them by any normal means. Their stealth technology was so advanced that even the most experienced navigators struggled to believe their instruments. The lead officer, Commander Valen, stared in disbelief. How could Earth, this primitive planet, build such a fleet? This is impossible. The other officers were equally stunned, their mouths agape as they scanned the fleet. Hundreds of ships were scattered in tight formation, their sleek metallic hulls reflecting the light of the distant stars. They were no ordinary warships. The technology was sophisticated, cutting edge, and far beyond what any race in the galaxy had expected from Earth. Some ships had cloaking abilities that made them nearly invisible to the most advanced detection systems. Others had weapons that could easily level entire planets. "How did they do this?" muttered Lieutenant Kira, her voice barely a whisper. "This wasn't built in a few years. This fleet has been hidden away for generations." The commander quickly ordered a scan of the ships, but the results were more perplexing. They had never encountered such advanced systems in any database. These ships weren't just hiding in plain sight. They were equipped with technology that seemed to bend the laws of physics. The officers tried everything they could to get a closer look, but the fleet remained elusive, always one step ahead of their attempts to understand it. "What is Earth's plan?" Commander Valen asked, his voice filled with uncertainty. "Why keep such a force hidden? Why now?" The fleet seemed to be in perfect harmony, silent and unmoving, like a sleeping giant waiting for the right moment to strike. The Council's mission was no longer just about gathering information. It was about understanding why Earth had done this. What had they been preparing for? And how had they built such a fleet without anyone in the galaxy noticing? As the reconnaissance ship hovered in orbit, watching Earth's hidden fleet, the officers realized they were not alone. Several of the ships suddenly moved, breaking formation as if responding to the presence of the ship in orbit. The Council's vessel quickly began to retreat, worried that they had been detected. But to their surprise, none of the ships followed. Instead, they watched quietly from below. Commander Valen couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. This wasn't just a fleet. This was something far bigger, and Earth, the small, insignificant planet they had all but forgotten, had pulled off a masterstroke of secrecy. They had built this fleet under the nose of the entire galaxy, and now it seemed ready to unleash its power. "Prepare to transmit this information back to the Council," Valen ordered. "We need to inform them. Earth is no longer just a minor player in this galaxy. They'd been hiding something we've completely underestimated." The mission was a success, but the questions were just beginning. Why had Earth kept such a fleet hidden? Who had they been preparing to fight? And how had they built such advanced technology without anyone knowing? The journey back to the Galactic Council headquarters was filled with tense silence. The officers knew they had just uncovered a secret that could change the course of the galaxy. And whatever Earth was preparing for, the rest of the universe would soon have to confront it. The first encounter. The reconnaissance ship made its return to the Galactic Council, but the officers aboard couldn't shake the strange feeling of unease. The fleet they had discovered around Earth was unlike anything they had ever seen. For the entire journey back, the crew remained on high alert, unsure of what Earth's hidden fleet truly meant for the galaxy. The Council was waiting for their report, and the officers knew this would be no ordinary briefing. Earth, a planet long ignored and dismissed by most of the galaxy, was now at the center of their attention. As the reconnaissance team landed on the Council's flagship, the crew was escorted to the Council chambers. The atmosphere was tense. The Council members, representatives from various alien species, gathered around their immense table, their eyes narrowed with concern. Commander Valen stepped forward to deliver the report. "The fleet is real." Valen began, his voice steady but filled with disbelief. "And it's unlike anything we've ever encountered. Earth, the planet we've all overlooked, has been hiding an armada of advanced warships, more than we could imagine. They built them in secret, and they're powerful." A hushed silence fell over the room as the Council members exchanged nervous glances. The realization that Earth, an insignificant planet, according to most, had secretly built a fleet powerful enough to challenge the might of the galaxy was almost too much to comprehend. The leader of the Council, a tall, silver-skinned being known as High Commander Zira, spoke up. "You're telling us that Earth, of all places, has done this." Zira's voice was calm, but there was a note of disbelief. "How could this happen without us knowing? Why was no one alerted?" Valen hesitated for a moment before continuing. "We don't know how they managed to hide the fleet for so long. Our sensors couldn't detect them. Their technology is unlike anything we've encountered. Cloaking systems, advanced stealth tech, and weapons capable of destroying entire planets. They've been preparing for something, and they've done it right under our noses." The room fell silent again. The Council had always prided itself on maintaining control over the galaxy, and the thought that Earth, of all planets, had been secretly building a military force capable of challenging them was unsettling. The members of the Council were used to seeing each other's military strengths, their fleets, their technologies. But Earth had kept its cards hidden, and now they had to decide how to respond. After a long pause, High Commander Zira finally spoke. "We need to speak with them. There's no other choice. We must understand why Earth has built this fleet and what they're preparing for. We need answers." A plan was quickly devised. A diplomatic envoy was selected to make contact with Earth's leaders. The Council wasn't sure what to expect, but they knew one thing for certain. They couldn't afford to ignore this. Earth had proven it could hide secrets from the entire galaxy, and now they had to face the truth of what humanity had been doing behind the scenes. The Council's envoy, a small team of elite diplomats and military officers, boarded a ship bound for Earth. As they traveled through space, they discussed the potential outcomes. No one knew what they would find when they arrived on Earth, but they all agreed on one thing: they couldn't be prepared for the unknown. When the envoy finally arrived in Earth's orbit, they were greeted not by the chaos of war, but by silence. The planet below was peaceful, its cities bustling with life, unaware that the galaxy was now watching them closely. The fleet, hidden for so long, remained in the shadows, waiting. The envoy was uncertain of what awaited them. They descended to Earth's surface, landing near a massive military complex that seemed to stretch endlessly into the horizon. The complex was surrounded by high-tech defenses, clearly meant to keep intruders at bay. As the team disembarked, they were met by human soldiers who showed no fear. They knew who these visitors were. They knew the Galactic Council had arrived. The commander of the human military stepped forward, a tall man with piercing blue eyes and an air of quiet authority. He introduced himself as General James Carter, and without wasting any time, he spoke. "You've come to see the truth, haven't you?" Carter said, his voice calm but firm. "We've been preparing for a long time. The fleet you found is just the beginning." The council envoy was taken aback. The humans knew why they were there. There was no hesitation in Carter's voice. He had been expecting them. "I can't explain everything right now," Carter continued, "but I can promise you this. We didn't build this fleet because we wanted to fight. We built it because we had no choice. The galaxy is changing, and we've been watching. We know what's coming." The council members were stunned. The humans were not aggressive. They were not threatening. Instead, they were calm, and they spoke with a level of certainty that gave the council pause. There was no hostility, no signs of an impending attack, only a quiet, almost eerie confidence that raised more questions than it answered. General Carter led the team through the massive complex, showing them the ships that had been hidden for so long. The ships were stunning, sleek, powerful, and unlike anything the council had ever seen. It was clear that the humans had built something extraordinary, something that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. "We've been preparing for something much bigger than you think," Carter said. "And soon, you'll understand why." The council members were left in stunned silence. The true extent of Earth's hidden strength was beginning to unfold before them, and they had no idea what to expect next. Earth's unseen power. As the Galactic Council delegation walked through the sprawling military complex, they couldn't help but feel a growing sense of awe. The facilities were more advanced than anything they had seen before, far beyond the technology they had initially expected from Earth. Each step felt like they were venturing deeper into a hidden world, one they had never imagined. General Carter led them into a massive hangar, where rows of sleek warships stood, their surfaces gleaming under the harsh lights. The ships were unlike any the Council had ever seen. They were large and imposing, yet beautifully crafted with an elegant aerodynamic design. But it was the technology inside these ships that took the Council by surprise. Earth had somehow developed propulsion systems that could rival the fastest ships in the galaxy, and their weapon systems were so advanced that the Council's most powerful fleets might not stand a chance. "These ships, they look like they've been built for war," Commander Valen said quietly, still in disbelief. "But why did Earth hide them all this time?" General Carter paused, his expression unreadable. "We didn't build them for war. We built them for survival." The silence that followed was heavy. The Council members exchanged uneasy glances. They had assumed the worst, that Earth was planning to attack the galaxy. But this answer, simple and matter-of-fact, was not what they had expected. Carter continued, his voice steady, but tinged with an emotion the Council could sense. "Earth's been preparing for a war we didn't start, but one we knew might come. For centuries, we've watched as tensions rose across the galaxy. We knew that sooner or later, the peace we had would shatter. And when that day came, we needed to be ready." The room was filled with the quiet hum of machinery as the Council absorbed the words. This wasn't about domination. This was about defense. Earth had watched the galaxy's power players build their fleets, expand their reach, and make alliances. Yet Earth had remained isolated, too weak to protect itself, too small to have any real influence. But it was clear now that the humans had been quietly preparing for the inevitable moment when they would be forced to stand their ground. "We weren't always ready," Carter continued. "It took us years to develop the technology, to hide our advancements. And we did it because no one believed in us. The rest of the galaxy ignored us, underestimated us, and now we have to live with the consequences. We can no longer afford to remain weak, to stay out of the larger conflicts. We've built this fleet, not to conquer, but to ensure that Earth has a voice in the future of the galaxy." The Council members were silent, their minds racing. They had assumed that Earth's secrecy was a sign of hostility. But what they were hearing now made them reconsider everything. They had long viewed Earth as insignificant, too isolated to matter. But in truth, humanity had been building quietly in the shadows, developing weapons, ships, and defenses that could not only protect their planet, but also make them a force to be reckoned with. "This is impossible," said Zira, a high commander of the Council. "We've watched you, Earth. We knew of your wars, your struggles, your primitive technologies. How did you advance so quickly, so secretly?" General Carter met Zira's gaze. "You think we advanced quickly? It's been a long road, with many sacrifices. Our people have struggled, fought, and suffered for every inch of progress we made. We didn't have the luxury of alien technology like some of you do. We had to build it all from scratch, with blood, sweat, and years of hard work." The delegation was led to another part of the complex, a room that housed something even more surprising: Earth's vast network of intelligence and spy technology. Hundreds of monitors filled the room, each one displaying live feeds from across the galaxy. There were images of distant planets, classified military movements, and intercepted communications between alien races. Earth, it seemed, had been watching the galaxy just as carefully as the galaxy had been watching them. "We've been tracking the movements of every major power in the galaxy for decades," Carter explained. "We know who's allied with whom, who's preparing for war, and who's just biding their time. We've been gathering information, waiting for the right moment to act. We knew that one day the galaxy would have to recognize us, and that day is coming sooner than we expected." The Council members were now more confused than ever. Earth had not only built an impressive fleet, but had also established a network of spies and surveillance systems that rivaled even the most advanced galactic empires. This was not a planet of weaklings or primitives. This was a world that had been preparing for something far larger than any of them had imagined. "And what is it you've been preparing for?" asked Commander Valen, his voice now filled with cautious curiosity. Carter's expression darkened. "There are forces in the galaxy far more dangerous than anything you've encountered. We've seen them, hidden in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. We've been building this fleet, this network, to ensure that when they come, we will be ready. And when that day arrives, Earth will not stand alone." The Council was left in stunned silence. The humans had built more than just a fleet. They had created an entire system of defense, a network of intelligence, and an awareness of galactic events that rivaled the most advanced races in the galaxy. Earth had become a hidden power, biding its time until the moment was right. And now, that moment seemed to be approaching. The human advantage. The conversation in the military complex was growing more intense. The Galactic Council members now understood that Earth wasn't simply hiding a fleet. It was preparing for a larger, more dangerous future. The humans had done everything they could to ensure their survival in a galaxy where power was often defined by military strength and alliances. They had developed their own unique strategies, leveraging their intelligence, diplomacy, and innovative thinking in ways that few alien races had considered. General Carter took a step forward, his gaze unwavering as he addressed the Council. "You've seen the fleet. You've seen our technology. But that's not our greatest strength. Our greatest advantage is our ability to think differently. We're not bound by the same limitations as the rest of you. We adapt, we evolve, and we do it faster than anyone expects." The Council members exchanged looks, unsure of what Carter meant. For all their advanced technology and military might, the Council's members were used to playing by the same set of rules: fleets, alliances, and overwhelming force. But Carter's words hinted at something deeper, something that went beyond firepower and strategy. "You're underestimating us," Carter continued. "The reason Earth has been overlooked for so long is that we don't play the same game. While you've been focused on power, we've been focused on survival. We've developed methods of diplomacy that no one can ignore. We've found new ways to unite under a common cause, and we've learned to think 2 steps ahead." The room was silent as Carter's words sank in. The Council had always prided itself on its ability to manipulate power dynamics, to use force to bend others to their will. But the humans were talking about something different. An advantage that couldn't be measured by the size of a fleet or the might of weapons. It was an edge in intelligence, in human adaptability, and in their unique approach to conflict and cooperation. "What do you mean by survival?" High Commander Zira asked, her voice curious but skeptical. "What's coming, and why should we trust that Earth's methods are the key to dealing with it?" General Carter paused for a moment before speaking. "I'm not asking you to trust us. I'm asking you to open your eyes. Earth has seen things in this galaxy that you've never even imagined. There are forces out there, races with no regard for peace, for treaties, or for diplomacy. They only care about power, and they're coming." The Council members listened intently. It was clear that Earth's leaders knew something that they did not. It was as if the humans had been observing the galaxy from a vantage point they could never fully comprehend. "They are a shadow race," Carter continued. "Their power lies in their ability to manipulate. They've already infiltrated parts of the galaxy, pulling strings from behind the scenes. You've seen their influence in the sudden wars, the rise of new powers, and the betrayals within alliances. We call them the Silent Hand. No one knows their true identity, but we know they're out there, manipulating events in ways we can't predict." The Council members shifted uneasily in their seats. The idea of an unknown enemy, working in the shadows, was unsettling. The Silent Hand was a concept the Council had never encountered before. They were used to dealing with clear-cut enemies, those who wore their intentions on their sleeves. But this was a threat that could not be seen, a force that could influence events without leaving a trace. "This is why we've built our fleet," Carter added. "We didn't just build it to fight anyone. We built it to prepare for the day when the Silent Hand would make its move. And now we know that day is coming." The gravity of Carter's words hung heavily in the room. The Council's doubts were beginning to fade, replaced by a creeping realization. Earth's survival instincts, their focus on outsmarting their enemies, and their ability to adapt quickly in the face of danger had put them in a unique position. Humanity was no longer the weak, insignificant species they had once considered it to be. They had become a formidable force, one that the galaxy could no longer afford to ignore. General Carter looked around the room, his gaze meeting each Council member's eyes. "The Silent Hand may not be the only threat out there. We've also discovered other factions, other races and organizations that are quietly growing in power. Earth doesn't have the luxury of ignoring these threats anymore. We need your help to face them. Alone, we are strong, but together we can build something greater. We can stop the Silent Hand before it's too late." The Council members were now fully aware that Earth wasn't asking for power or dominance. It was asking for an alliance. The humans wanted to combine their unique advantages with the strength of the Galactic Council to form a united front against the forces that threatened not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. High Commander Zira was the first to speak after a long pause. "We have seen what Earth is capable of. You've surprised us, General Carter. But what you're asking is not easy. An alliance with Earth will change the balance of power in the galaxy." Carter nodded. "We understand the risks, but we can no longer stand by while the galaxy faces unseen dangers. Together, we can ensure the survival of all races, human and alien alike." The Council members were silent for a moment, each of them considering Carter's words. Finally, Zira stood and addressed the room. "We must deliberate, but Earth has shown us that it's more than capable of standing with us. If what you say is true, then perhaps it is time to stop underestimating humanity." The Council's deliberation would determine the future of the galaxy and Earth's place within it. But one thing was clear: Earth, once seen as a small, insignificant planet, had proven that it could not only survive but thrive in a galaxy full of danger. And now, its greatest challenge was ahead. This part emphasizes Earth's unique advantages and strategic thinking, solidifying their place as a key player in the galaxy's future. The Council begins to seriously consider Earth as an ally rather than an isolated planet, setting the stage for deeper cooperation or conflict. Let me know if you'd like to refine any details. The future of the galaxy. The Council chambers were filled with a tense silence as the deliberation on Earth's proposed alliance stretched late into the galactic night. Every representative sat in their place, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the holographic displays. The room, usually a place for calm decision-making, was now heavy with the weight of the choices that lay ahead. The decision was not an easy one. Some members of the Council still felt uncertain, even after Earth's revelations. The Silent Hand, a shadowy force no one could identify, seemed like an unimaginable threat. Yet, Earth had shown itself to be not only capable of surviving, but of thriving against such dangers. The humans had proved their strength, their intelligence, and their ability to adapt under pressure. High Commander Zira, the leader of the Galactic Council, stood at the center of the room, her piercing gaze sweeping over the gathered members. She had always been a strong leader, one who favored logic and pragmatism. But even she couldn't ignore the facts in front of her now. As Carter stood in the briefing room of Earth's military headquarters, looking out over the fleet of ships now united under his command, he couldn't help but feel a quiet pride. The humans had come a long way, and now they were a part of something much bigger than themselves. He turned to his team, his expression serious but resolute. The future of this galaxy is uncertain, but together, we have a chance to protect what we hold dear. We don't know what's out there, but we will face it, head-on, as a united front. Across the galaxy, other races were already beginning to shift. News of Earth's alliance with the Galactic Council spread like wildfire, sparking a mixture of fear, curiosity, and admiration. Some races saw it as a sign of change, an opportunity to form new alliances, while others feared that this new power would disrupt the balance they had worked so hard to maintain. For Earth, this was just the beginning. The fleet that had once been hidden in the shadows was now on full display, a symbol of humanity's resolve and determination. The alliances forged would bring new strength, new technologies, and new opportunities for growth. But the threat of the Silent Hand still loomed large, and humanity would have to stand ready to protect their place in the galaxy. In the vast expanse of space, where anything could change in the blink of an eye, one thing was certain: Earth had arrived. No longer would they be seen as a small, insignificant world. Earth had proven that its strength came not from sheer power, but from its ability to adapt, to survive, and to thrive in the face of overwhelming odds. And with that strength, the galaxy's future would never be the same.